So my first sailing class went pretty well. It went pretty much exactly how I expected. Unfortunately, we didn't have a ton of wind, so we did have to do a lot of motor sailing, but it still gave us the basic idea of everything. So now as we, work on other boats and crew for other people, we have better understanding of what we're doing. Obviously, we don't really know anything yet, but we understand the basics of it. How to sail away from the wind, how to, do a close reach, all the basic sailing stuff. I can't wait to get to practice it more. Unfortunately, I don't have access to a sailboat, on my own. Or do I know people who go sailing quite often? That's my next step. As much as I can do this on my own, there is some things I need other people for. People keep asking me as well, why don't I just buy my own boat? Currently, I live in Michigan. Sailing from Michigan out, even on like they call it the Great Loop, it's hard to sail from because there's so many bridges that you can't get under. You have to demast to get under them. So I won't be buying anything until I get to Florida. Florida is one of my places that I'd really love to go and live. Very southern Florida on the Gulf side. And I'll be making that happen in November. I'm just not leaving now because I'm going to take advantage of everything I can here in Michigan on Lake St. Clair for the next foreseeable future. I got my first certification. I don't know what these really mean in the real world, but for my own benefit, really, is why I'm taking them. The American Sailing Association, I finished the 101. I take the 103 in September, which is just coastal cruising, which will then enable me to hopefully, with a little bit of that experience, be able to crew on other boats when I get to Florida. I don't want to buy a boat until I'm convinced that I'm comfortable sailing it. I don't want to run around, crash it, keel it over, or do any of that stuff yet. And I see all these people who do decide to just get the boat and go for it, but I just not my kind of learning curve, being stuck out in an open body of water with no answers. I need at least some idea of what I'm doing before I can do that. I'm not saying that I need to be a seasoned sailor before I get out there, but I definitely need a little more experience, especially since I'll be by myself. I don't have a crew. I don't have this group of people that are going to be going sailing with me all the time. Hopefully, I make some friends when I move to Florida, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be sailing friends. So it's something that I have to work out. Where we go from here is just studying some more. Like I said, I have my next certification in September. I have to get 20 hours out on the water before that, but I'm going sailing tomorrow night, and I've got some other things because we're where I'm located. A lot of the marinas around here do a Thursday night, sail with me thing. So people who own sailboats and don't necessarily have crew to help them, you go on Thursday nights and they'll pick you out of the crowd and you go sailing. I haven't actually done it yet. I've only heard about it from other people, but who knows? Maybe that's what's gonna help me get those hours. If not, I'm not too proud to go hang out and ask people. It might be a little awkward, but what's the worst they can say is no, and then I move on. It's kind of like when you first start, dating girls. You go up to them, you say hello, either they're like yeah or they're like no, and you just move on if they say no. So I'm really looking forward to this next growth spurt that I have to go through, because this knowledge is just seeping on, learning words that I've never learned before in my entire life, but it all makes sense. That's why I'm really enjoying it, is because it all makes sense. I feel comfortable. I loved being on the boat. I didn't mind the heat or even the black flies when the wind died. what can you do? That's just part of the deal. There's a lot of things I didn't like about hairdressing when I first got into it too, but you know, you get over them. Nothing's gonna be perfect. Just what makes you happy is what's most important. And I can honestly say that day, well, those couple days out on that boat getting my first certification, I've had some of the most fun that I've had in years. And I was with a good group of guys, all about my age, a little younger, a little older, but all good people, all understanding that we were trying to do this together. Sailing is about camaraderie. Like you doing it by yourself is possible, but it's so much better when you have other people with you. That's my opinion. Other sailors might tell you something different, but that's my opinion. I wouldn't even consider myself a sailor yet. I'm just a guy who's getting on a sailboat a couple of times. Eventually, I will be a sailor. I've spent a lot of time on power boats, but that's not the same thing. It doesn't take a ton of skill to operate a power boat. And I'm not saying that to offend people who drive power boats, but you can get from dock to place back to dock pretty easily in a powerboat. Obviously, I've never driven like yachts or anything, but I'm sure that has its own special tools. It does make it easier, bow thrusters and things of the sort. I'm not trying to disparage any boaters. All boaters are good. I'm just pointing out that with the sailing, understanding sailing from what I've gotten from these first few lessons is that you really got to know your boat. You really got to know the wind. You can't just get out there, throw up sails and go. That's not the way it works. But there's a lot of fun that goes along with that work, and that's the kind of work that doesn't bother me, that's getting me into something I want to do. I'm hoping over the course of the next 2 months that I can shed the rest of these 30 pounds. I am trying to start planning for my trip to Florida. Or not trip, but move. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. Thanks for joining me. I forgot to mention, I had my camera with me when I was boarding for my sailing lesson, and the captain just wanted us to focus on sailing, did not really want me to film anything. That's why I don't have any footage of that sailing adventure or any of my sailing adventures yet. But I have to respect the captain. I got to respect their rules, and so I didn't do it for footage. I did it for experience. So hopefully, as I go out to do some more of these sail with other people, they won't mind if I bring the camera. I'm just gonna strap it to my chest or something and just, you know, so I'm not gonna be able to like aim the footage and, you know, whatever. Like, who cares? It's not about that for me right now. When I become a actual skipper or captain of my own boat, then I'll film everything. But until then, I have to respect the wishes of the boats that I go upon. So in case you were wondering, that's why there was no footage of the sail.